What is going on, y'all? This is John Alsace with Face Mask Fantasy, bringing you new, up-to-date fantasy content every day on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed already and you like winning your fantasy league, then hit that button, y'all. But without further ado, let's get into some more rookie breakdowns. Today, we're going to be talking about Tommy Tremble. Now, Tommy Tremble is the latest Notre Dame tight end to be drafted, and he was selected 83rd by the Carolina Panthers, who actually traded up to get him. Now, he was viewed throughout the draft process as the best run-blocking tight end in the country. 6'3", 241. Early in the draft process, he was not viewed as a top 4 tight end in this draft class. But as the draft drew closer and closer, he was getting more and more hyped up because people started getting hip to his athletic profile. And combined with being the best blocker in the tight end class for this year, it all resulted in him being the 4th tight end drafted behind Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth, and Hunter Long. He ran a phenomenal 40-yard dash. He weighed in a little light for a blocking tight end at 241 pounds. Tremble's college production is sparse. He only had 35 catches for 401 yards and 4 scores across 2 seasons. He had just 218 yards and no TDs in 10 games in 2020, and he only eclipsed 50 yards once in 25 games. So looking at his college production, you're not going to come away impressed. But again, best blocker in this draft class. And he has the athleticism to where if he did learn the position as a pass catcher, where if he did learn to become more of a receiver, he could be on the field all the time. He could be one of those tight ends where you're not taking him off the field because he's valuable in all situations. That said, he never produced enough to qualify any of his seasons as a breakout season while at Notre Dame. Now, to speak a little bit more about the Carolina Panthers, the team that he was drafted to, the team also brought in Dan Arnold from the Cardinals, and they still have Ian Thomas on the roster. Now, Tremble is the best blocker on the team at the position, and he will primarily be used as such really early in his career. So we're going to see Tommy Tremble on the field. But the problem is they brought in a receiving tight end in Dan Arnold, and they still have a relative unknown in Ian Thomas. He's one of these guys who, tight end always takes a while, and every year up to this past season, Ian Thomas has gotten a little hype due to his athletic profile, but he clearly hasn't put it all together. But on top of having a relatively crowded and young tight end room to contend with, Sam Darnold's the QB, and they drafted Terrace Marshall in the 2nd round, and DJ Moore is still here, and Robbie Anderson is still here, and I just don't think there's enough to go around from a receiving perspective, even if Tremble's on the field a lot, because, it's Sam Darnold. Now, I know he's going to be on the field a lot, blocking for Christian McCaffrey, but he's going to be blocking. If they want a receiving tight end out there, they're going to use one that has a better resume than Tommy Tremble. But even at the high end of things, in this current offense, if he can figure out the pass catching part of this game, his production is still tied to Sam Darnold, who has never been known to produce high-end tight ends throughout his time in New York. How much of that was Gase remains to be seen, but I'm not expecting much from a receiving perspective from Tremble, especially since tight end is notoriously one of the hardest positions to acclimate to in the NFL. He has a very high ceiling if he can put it all together, but that's a long shot. And despite having relatively high draft capital, 3rd round, 4th tight end taken, again, behind only Pitts, Freiermuth, and Long, I still don't like him in fantasy. This feels like a better real-life NFL pick in terms of having an effect on the other players in this offense than a pick that will yield fantasy owners value. Now because of that, I'm only looking at him in Dynasty. And even so, there's a ton of tight ends in this draft class I like more from a receiving perspective. Kalen Granson, Brevin Jordan, both project as more receiving options than he does, and Noah Gray too. While he doesn't have the draft capital, he's playing behind a 31-year-old Kelsey. Love that landing spot for him. He could be the long-term heir apparent for Kelsey whenever Kelsey ends up closing up shop. But I'd take all those guys over Tommy Tremble right now. And you know how this goes. If I'm not in on him in Dynasty, I'm also not in on him in season long. Forget about him completely. If you're looking at a tight end from this offense, you should be looking at Dan Arnold. And even then, I'm not too optimistic about what he can do in 2021 with Sam Darnold. What do you guys think? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is John Alsace. Once again, this is Face Mask Fantasy. We specialize in bringing you fantasy content every damn day. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. It helps us out greatly, and it helps you out because we're going to help you win your fantasy league. Once again, thank you for listening. Have a great day.